What's a ham radio?
The Cadillac of ham radios.
Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Ham Radio as Stranger Things podcast. We've got a great episode for you today as usual, but first, we have a little housekeeping to take care of, and I'm going to turn it over to Jasmin to let you know where you can find us on social media and where you can listen to the podcast.
Thanks, Ashley. You can find us on Instagram at Ham Radio Media, all one word, on Twitter at HamFro, on YouTube at Ham Radio Media, or using our handle HamRadio1983. We also have a Discord you can join, which is linked in the description of this episode. If you have a fan theory or question you want to share, you can email us at hamradiomedia@gmail.com. Ashley also has a fanfic on AO3 entitled Stranger Things College, which is also linked in the description. The podcast is available on all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and much more. If you like the show, please consider leaving us a rating or review. We have a lot of totally tubular stuff coming up, so be sure to follow us on social media to keep up with the podcast and all of our new content. All right, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ham Radio podcast. Ashley is off this week, so I'm flying solo. And today I'm going to be talking about all of the behind-the-scenes content we've gotten for Stranger Things 5 in September and October. So to start off, on Tuesday, September 3rd, the broadcast channel shared photos of upside-down spores being grown in a lab. On Monday, September 9th, the broadcast channel shared a photo of the drawing that Lucas made for Max in Season 4, taped to the hospital room wall, with a message underneath saying that they were going to make the crew sign a petition to hang the drawing in a museum. Clearly, the broadcast channel people are Lumac shippers. And then on Thursday, September 19th, for Geeked Week, we got a behind-the-scenes fan video. So we got Gaten, Finn, and Caleb in costume as their characters in front of the alphabet wall at the Byers' home. And from there, two fans were invited to the Stranger Things 5 set in Atlanta, Georgia, to see props and costumes from the show. I loved how the two fans were talking about how Steve was their favorite character, only for Finn Wolfhard to walk up. That made me lol. Yeah, and then from there, we got to see the actors showing these fans different props. So they got to see the D&D board from Season 1, Joyce's prop axe from Season 1, Hopper's feelings letter to Eleven with David's handwriting on it, Eleven's letters to Mike in Season 4, and then for costumes, they got to see Eleven's pink dress and one of Steve's outfits from Season 1. They got to see Lucas's Vecman costume from Season 2, Robin's Scoops Ahoy outfit from Season 3, Eddie's signature look from Season 4, and Lucas's basketball jersey from Season 4 as well. So during the costume tour, Caleb revealed that in Season 1, for the costume fittings, they were asked what they thought their character's favorite color was, what they like to eat, and that the actors make playlists for their characters, which I thought was really cool. You can really see like the detail, and they thought, going all the way back to Season 1, how much thought and attention they put into, what their characters liked and didn't like, and that they really asked the actors to, get into the mind of their character and really try to understand them and also incorporate, what the actors thought into the character, into their costuming. And from other interviews I've seen, it looks like they also incorporate that into the bedrooms and the homes of the characters, that they really work collaboratively to kind of figure out, okay, what kind of things would they have in their room? What kind of things would be in their home? And make it look like real and lived in. So every time they show up to set for a new season, they get to kind of explore the room and the home and kind of see what their character has been up to. And I think it's really cool that dates back to Season 1 because, back when they filmed Season 1, the show was a real gamble. Nobody else but Netflix wanted it. Shawn Levy really had to work to help get it made with the Duffer Brothers. When they showed it to him, they really had to work to get this show made. It was a real gamble. They didn't know it was going to go beyond a season. So the fact that they put that much effort and thought into characters' costumes back in season 1 when these kids were like 10 or 11 is really cool. And the fact that it was such an immersive experience from the beginning, I think really explains why the actors and the crew seem to have such a good time working on the show, because it's really so immersive to like every little detail, you don't see with every show. And then from there, the fans got to see the Vine warehouse where all of the upside down Vine props are kept. And they got to meet Sam, the Nether coordinator, which is an awesome job title, honestly. He revealed that there's 19 miles of vines in total for season 5, and that the show single-handedly kept a pool noodle company in business with their order. So this company was going out of business, and then the show called them up and offered to take everything they had, which is pretty cool. And honestly, like, that is a lot of pool noodles. It's really cool to like see the process and see how they make them, that they invest that much into practical effects, because that's not cheap to do. And they could just CGI all of the vines, but for the process that they've described, they do as much with practical effects as they can, and then they kind of do an overlay and make some stuff move and that kind of thing, just so the actors like don't trip over it. Because if you had the vines constantly moving, like we see them in the show, the actors would actually trip and injure themselves. So for safety, like they'll animate some stuff after the fact, but they do as much practically as they can. I remember seeing an interview with Sadie Sink for season 4 where she said, the sequence where she's running, like she's in Vecna's mindscape and she's running to try to get back to the cemetery, that set was like really slippery, and it was like a lot of work because like they had, these giant red lights and these reflecting pools to create a lot of what we see there is actually practical effects. Like it didn't overlay to enhance it, but a lot of it was practical. And so she's, it's slippery and wet and you're running around. Or Millie Bobby Brown has talked about, how her feet get really wrinkly and how she hates doing the void scenes because, she's literally standing in a pool of water. And again, it would be really easy for them to just CGI the whole thing, but I think you can tell, and I think it makes it, you can tell shows in the past or movies, like the Star Wars franchise, one of the reasons it's so iconic and it holds up is because they did a lot of that stuff practically because there was no other way to do it back then. And they've continued to do that. So like the effects, still look cool because they did them practically, versus like, you see some stuff today where, it was really great and amazing and cool and iconic in its time, but, the effects just don't hold up because, they use CGI or they just didn't have the budget. And so, the effects don't hold up. So it kind of takes you out of the moment. It ruins the experience when you watch some shows or movies. So I think it's really cool that they do so much stuff practically, because I think that will make it hold up for longer. It's something that people can go back and rewatch, even though technology will have advanced in the future. It's, the practical effects I think will still hold up. And then on Friday, September 20th, Shawn Levy shared some behind the scenes photos that were in black and white that were really cool. He shared a photo of him and Millie goofing around on set. They appear to be at the hospital set in this photo. Then there's one of him and Caleb talking at a counter at what also looks like to be the hospital set. And then we got one of Shawn and Gaten talking at the radio station set. And then Shawn looking at what might be a helicopter. It's very blurry, so it's hard to tell. And then a photo of his director's chair on set. I think based on the photos we're seeing, I think the radio station and the hospital are going to be two of the main sets this season. And it also looks like they're filming quite a bit at the high school and possibly the middle school as well. So I think based on what we're seeing so far, those are going to be some of the main sets. And then, of course, we also know they filmed quite a bit at that farm set as well. They've also been at the junkyard, the cabin, the Wheelers house as well. So it looks like those are going to be some of our main sets this season. And people have speculated that the radio station is going to be kind of like our Crew House set for season 5. And that does look likely based on what we've gotten so far. And then on Tuesday, September 24th, the broadcast channel shared some videos of a crew member bringing Millie Bobby Brown a nice caramel latte in her trailer. The crew member walks past the lab building and the Hawkins power and light van from season 1, which makes me think that they're filming some flashbacks here, because we haven't seen the power and light van since season 1, and after that time, the lab people really dropped that as a pretense as far as we know. And like after season 2, Owens took over and he seemed more concerned about like containment and like studying what was going on than like trying to hide what they were doing or creating this like elaborate ruse that seemed to be more of Brenner's thing. So to me, this says that we could be getting some flashbacks here, either of Elle's escape in season 1, or potentially maybe the events of season 1 from Brenner's perspective. You know, like maybe we're getting a different perspective of the events that we already have. So we might see, footage of what we saw originally and then a different perspective, which I think could be really cool. There appears to be like a lot of flashbacks that they're doing this season, or at least that's what a lot of the photos and videos seem to imply. And personally, I'm really excited for that. Like Ashley and I have talked about this a lot, and coming into the season, we were really hoping we'd get those kinds of flashbacks, but we honestly weren't sure if we would. And so it's really exciting to see that we might actually be getting them. Like we know, based on what Noah Schnapp has been filming, that we're definitely getting some flashbacks from Will's perspective in season 1, which are going to be really cool. And some other stuff seems to imply that we might be getting Millie as well, which would be really cool to see both those characters' perspectives from the events of season 1, because season 1 is all about everyone else's perspective, really. And we don't really get into we don't see Will's perspective. We see some of Elle's, but it's kind of bits and pieces as the mystery unfolds. It'd be really cool to go back there and see that. And I know Millie in particular has talked in interviews about just how there was stuff that they wanted to film back in season 1 and 2 that they just couldn't do because the actors were just too young. Like, it looked cool in their head when the Duffer Brothers wrote it, but then they realized, this is just too traumatizing to put a child through, whereas they've had to wait until the actors were much older, which, to be honest, I'm glad they waited, because I feel like, I think season 1 is as close to a near perfect season as you can get, and I don't think, there's some things they should change, but I don't think adding in more flashbacks in season 1 or 2 would have helped. I think it would have slowed down the story. I think coming back to it at this point when they've spent so much time in season 4 really setting everything up, to me makes the most sense. So I'm glad we're going to see Will's perspective. It looks like we might see Elle's as well, which would be really cool. And then on Monday, September 30th, the broadcast channel shared a video where the PA assistant in charge of the walkie-talkies on the set was interviewed. And then on Friday, October 4th, we got more behind-the-scenes photos from Shawn Levy. We got some more color this time. The first one up was a black and white photo of Winona Ryder and Maya Hawke in costume as Joyce and Robin at what could be the radio station. I personally am very excited for this team up. We saw a brief clip of them prior to this, looking at what appeared to be like a breaker or something in the basement of what we think might be the radio station. So I'm really excited that, for this team up, I think they have very similar energies as characters. And it would also be cool, based on the comments that Robin makes to Nancy about her mom constantly reminding her that she has a tendency to just keep talking or kind of blab stuff out. She said her mom reminds her on a daily basis or something like that. It sounds like they don't have a great relationship. It doesn't sound like these are people she could really come out to. And since we know her and Vicky are dating in season 5, based on the photos and footage we've gotten so far, it would be really great for Robin to have someone in her life that she can, kind of come out to and have that relationship with. And, based on what we know of Joyce so far, she's a very accepting person. So it'd be really cool to see that and kind of see how that team up goes. Because like I said, they have very similar energies. And I think that would be really lovely for Robin to have that, So I'm really excited for that team up. And then we got a photo, another black and white, of the Duffer Brothers with Finn Wolfhard, Noah Schnapp, and what could be Millie. The photo's taken, of this person from behind. So it looks like it could be Millie. And then in front of the alphabet wall at the Byers house, the Duffer Brothers reshared this photo with the caption "party planning." So that's why I'm guessing it's Millie, although she's not tagged and the other two are. And normally she would be. So I'm guessing it's Millie, but we don't know that for sure. And then we have a photo of Shawn with Brett Gelman, who's holding a walkie-talkie, and they're shooting something outside. And then we've got a red and black photo of what could be a ceiling with what could be vines below it. It's taken from a weird angle, so it's kind of hard to tell what this is. Clearly that's done on purpose. And then we've got Shawn standing on the running track outside of the high school, clearly in between shoots. So I'm excited to see all the stuff that they're filming at the high school. And then we've got a photo of Brett Gelman in costume as Murray, wearing a jacket that says Bradley's Big Buy on the back, talking into a walkie-talkie. It looks like Murray's going to be much more a part of the core team this season than in previous seasons, which is going to be interesting because he was kind of part of the core team towards the end of season 3, and he was part of the Russia team in season 4, but this will really be the first chance, I think, where everyone's all together. And I was personally quite disappointed that we didn't get any Murray or Erica scenes in season 4. I was so looking forward to that, and we didn't get any. So I'm hoping there's going to be lots of that, because I always find their interactions really funny. And Erica's, I mean, she's always got the best quips and comebacks. So I'm personally really looking forward to that. And then lastly, we have a photo of a bunch of actors in blue motion capture suits in a room with blue walls. So I'm guessing these actors are probably playing monsters from the Upside Down, and they're doing some sort of green screen work. So that'll be interesting to see once it's fully animated and all the special effects are applied. And then on Monday, October 14th, the broadcast channel shared a video of costume designer Amy Paris walking through the costume warehouse, showing fans how to thrift an 80s Halloween costume. In it, she picks out outfits that she feels Will and Erica would wear. And then on Friday, October 18th, the broadcast channel shared a video of Caleb McLaughlin giving a tour of the hangout room on set that we've seen previously in one of Millie's videos. So that was cool. Also appreciated the funny voice. That was probably one of my favorite videos that they've shared recently, apart from the latte video. And then on Monday, October 21st, the broadcast channel shared a photo of Dina Gibson from the hair department's Stranger Things themed nail art, which was pretty cool. And then on Thursday, October 24th, the broadcast channel shared a photo of one of the makeup artists painting one of Vecna's arms onto Jamie Campbell Bower. So as we saw in season 4, pretty much all of Vecna is practical effects, which I think is really cool. So I'm excited to see, more of Vecna, and I guess we'll learn in season 4 if he's going to venture, into the right side up. We've only so far seen him in the upside down since he was sent there, so that'll be cool to see. And then on Friday, October 25th, the broadcast channel shared a video of the Halloween decorations in what looks like the hair and makeup trailer on set. This includes a very cool carved pumpkin with Vecna's face on it, so that was pretty cool. Based on everything we've seen, it looks like the crew would really go all out for Halloween with decorations and stuff like that. I mean, to create the kind of props and things we see on the show, you have to be pretty talented, and it makes sense that, people who do that kind of work for a living, their favorite holiday would be Halloween, because it gives you an opportunity to do that kind of thing. So it's always kind of cool to see that stuff, and I think it's neat that they're showing us stuff with the crew, in times when they can't show us stuff with the actors or filming because, it's spoilers and they don't want us to see it. And it makes you wonder, what are they not showing us? Because we've gotten so much stuff I didn't think we'd ever get, When they first started doing this, people thought, oh, maybe there'll be a few drops, or we're not going to see this character, we're not going to see that character, we're not going to see this. They would never show us that. And then they did. And I think part of it is to kind of counteract all the paparazzi photos, and that, it's not much of a paparazzi photo. It's not much of a spoiler if we're giving it to you anyway. But I think it's also to try to keep the show top of mind for people, because it is taking so long to film and the wait is so long. I mean, season 4 came out 2 years ago at this point. And also they're doing a lot of, collaborations and merchandise, try to keep the show top of mind and probably get stuff out there for the Christmas season. Their most recent one was with Pandora. They also won, a makeup set with ColourPop. So they're clearly trying to keep the show, top of mind for fans and consumers ahead of its release. So, and so far that plan appears to be working for them in terms of advertising. So looks like we're going to keep getting more content. Every time I think we're not going to get anything else, or they're filming stuff that they can't show us, they'll suddenly drop a whole bunch of stuff. So you never really know what you're going to get, which is kind of cool. Presumably they will do more stuff for Halloween, and, Stranger Things Day is the big one that's coming up, and, we're all crossing our fingers for a trailer. At this point, they haven't announced the date for Tudum yet, so presumably there could be something for that as well. We don't know. It normally happens by this point in the year, so we shall see. But that's everything that we have for you today. So stay tuned. We've got more great episodes coming up. We'll be covering Stranger Things Day, the behind-the-scenes content. We've got our script series. We've got more Stancy episodes, and lots of fun stuff. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. And that's our show. If you like what you heard today, be sure to subscribe and tell your friends. Our theme music is provided by Neon Knights. Thank you for listening to this episode of Ham Radio, a Stranger Things podcast. Please join us next time, same dial, same time.
Over and out.